can you use to support a project manager who's lost the confidence of the user group and their development partner?
Who's lost the confidence of the user group and their development partner? Okay, well, I mean, that's... And/or their development partner. Okay. So, and we're talking about supporting the PM. So that's a really interesting question. So this is presumably someone who has a PM report to them, and I'm going to make a number of assumptions here in order to try and figure the way through the problem. But someone who has PMs working for them, and one of these PMs is struggling because presumably the project team or various stakeholders or this development partner no longer think they are the right person for the job, perhaps. They've lost their confidence. There's a few things to consider. I suppose the first is to understand why we think that's happening. So there's a number of reasons a PM might lose the confidence of their team or their stakeholders. And one of the ones is that it's all become a bit stressful, or there's been something go wrong, and or multiple things go wrong, and the PM just loses control of the project. And that can happen for a number of reasons, and we need to be sort of, we need not to pretend that every PM operates perfectly at all times. If that happens, the way you support the PM is by helping them to use project management to bring the project back under control.
Okay.
So what is very easy as a PM when there's issues to get caught up in the issue and the solution to the issue and trying to fix it, often trying to fix it yourself, rather than going back to the tools that project management gives us. So quite often the first thing to go out the window is the plan, whereas in fact, that's the first thing you should be going to try and get things back on track, right? How has this affected our plan? What can we now do to bring the plan back on track? Which are the elements that are now blown, but which can we retrieve? Which can we salvage? So help them to control the things they can control first and foremost. So that's making the assumption that perhaps they've started to get involved with the issues or lost control of the project's life. So reminding them of those good project management principles, that basic project hygiene, a lot of the time will help fix the issues, and at the very least stop you being distracted by the noise and actually focus on the things that you need to focus on. One of those things as well is have they lost sight of where the project's going? Have they got bogged down in politics or, like I say, issues management or just lost interest? The PM needs to be a bit of a leader as well and maintain that direction at all times. And part of the reason that the others might have lost confidence in them is because they feel that the PM themselves has lost their way. Have they lost interest in the project? Are they basically engaging in less than perfect, leadership behaviors? Are they not, getting people aligned around what we're trying to do? Or are they sort of, engaging in generally bad business behaviors? Are they getting involved in the politics of it all? Are they, not perhaps behaving in an exemplary manner? And if you can coach them and guide them to the way you behaved in that meeting, perhaps there was another way you could have done that, will help perhaps if it is behavioural, getting them back on track. So I think there's a couple of ways to approach it. And the final one is that occurs to me is if they're being seen perhaps as ineffective. Are they not being seen by their team and their stakeholders to be delivering? And the question then to ask is why? Why is that perception there? And how can you help the PM to be seen as delivering? Is it that they are delivering, but they're not shouting about it so that people aren't aware of all the good things they're doing? Is it that they're not, but they're not asking for help? So, do they need to be encouraged to, get the support? It's very easy to, be caught in an issue and not ask for help, to feel the need to resolve it yourself. But actually the job of the PM is to rally all the people around who actually can bring something to bear on an issue. So I suppose I've covered a number of reasons that it might be, and not knowing the specifics of this situation, and it might be a generic question, but to try and understand some of the reasons why people have lost confidence in the PM, and therefore try and plug some of those gaps. And that's the key thing, is understand why it is they've lost confidence. There's no magic bullet to giving someone confidence in a PM, but the thing that will give people confidence in a PM is seeing them do the job of project management well. And it's really about supporting them to get use the tools of project management to stay on top of things.
I guess confidence breeds confidence, right? So the more confident that project manager delivers their role, then the more confidence people will have in them.
Yeah. And it can take time. It can be a difficult cycle to break. And again, if this is, I've assumed a sort of level of line management responsibility, perhaps your role there is to give them a bit of air cover, protect them from some of those senior stakeholders while they get things back on track. Have the difficult conversations that say, look, there are some issues here, but we're sorting them out. You've got to give them a month while they figure it out, or whatever it is. So if this is a line manager role, do the line management job and support your team to whilst they figure out the stuff they need to figure out.
And it's very different, isn't it? It's managing a project team and managing project managers as a line manager. And I think those things can sometimes become quite blurred. That's a really important differentiator.
Absolutely.